There are many rates in the world that are often represented as percents. And so we're going to focus today on solving problems that involve rates, such as commission and sales tax and withholding tax and what tip you leave at a restaurant, that will work with what we know about percents now and what we've done previously in this chapter. So go ahead and copy on your target. And these are just a couple examples of where percents are used in the world. So commission is going to be the first example that we're going to talk about. Some of the people who make commission might be car salesmen or realtors. When they sell what their product is, they make a certain percentage of their sales. So commission is a fee paid to a person who makes a sale. Commission is usually a percentage of the selling price, and this percent is called the commission rate. So whenever you want to find how much the commission would be, it's always going to be the commission rate times the sales. Anytime you do a rate problem though, your rate is often going to be given to you as a percent, and you should always convert that to a decimal before you start doing some math to it. So when you put a percent in an equation, it must be in decimal form. So some of the people, like I said, who would make commission might be realtors when they're selling homes, car salesmen, maybe fancy shops like Coach. When they sell you a purse, they make a certain percent of those sales. Or somebody maybe at Home Depot might make a commission on appliances. Normally they are big items. Mr. Depew, a real estate agent, is paid a monthly salary of $900 plus commission on any of his sales. Last month, he sold a house in Mount Lebanon for $155,000. If his commission rate is 3% after his agency took their share, what was his total pay last month? So here we want to find his total pay, and his total pay is going to be a monthly salary plus commission. So we know that his total pay is made up of his monthly salary plus his commission. Well, we know what his monthly salary is, okay? And I want you to write this down because it helps a lot of times to write a word equation before you fill in the numbers. We want to find the total pay. We know what his monthly salary is. That's $900, so we can put that $900 in for salary. Right here, we need to find the commission, and the way we're going to find it is by doing commission rate times sales. So his commission rate is 3%. Let's write that down over on the side though, because the first thing you should do is convert that percent to a decimal. So remember, 3% is 0 out of 100, or you could just remember that you move the decimal over twice. So your decimal was here behind the 3. It's going to go 1, 2 to the left and make it 0.03 or 3/100ths. So a lot of times knowing what the percent is and you being able to read this number helps you to write the decimal. This is 3/100ths, this is 3/100ths. We're going to take that commission rate and we're going to multiply it by how much he sold. So how much were his sales? Well, he sold a house for $155,000. Let's do that multiplication first. So take out your calculator, multiply these two numbers together to find our commission. We know that the total pay is going to be $900 plus that commission amount. We need to find the commission first. Use your calculator here. 3/100ths times 155,000. Get your answer for me, please. Then, once you get your answer, add your value to the $900. So when you do this multiplication, hopefully you've done it by now, you get 4,650. Add that to the 900 now. So this is the commission, this is the salary. His total pay is going to be $5,550. I always like to label my answers, so I would circle that whole thing in. My total pay is $5,550. If I asked you only to tell me the commission, you would only tell me $4,650. Let's try another one. A jewelry sales associate earns $540 in commission in February. So now we know the commission. If her commission rate is 12% of her sales, how much were her sales in February? So to find the sales, we always want to, we know that our commission is going to be equal to the rate times the sales, right? Again, I like to write it in words first so I can make sure I'm substituting everything in the right spot. Well, she earned $540 in commission. So that goes on the other side of the equal sign. We know the rate is 12%. 12%, that's 12 out of 100, or 12 100ths. Just move the decimal over 2. And it's going to be multiplied times the sales, but we don't know her sales. So we can just leave it as S, or you could put in X. So here S is going to be my sales. To find the sales, what would you do to get S by itself? Divide both sides by 12 hundredths, or 0.12, and your answer here will be your sales. So go ahead and take a minute to divide that on your calculator. Since we are finding the sales amount, you want to make sure that you put the units on there. And we are talking about sales in dollars. So when you divide it, hopefully you got 4,500. If you have a different answer, check what you typed in on your calculator. And I like to always label my answer, so it's $4,500 in sales. So commission is one application of percent or rate problems. Let's look at another type, and the next two are going to be focused on tax, okay? One type of tax we have is sales tax. So tax is on the item of the sale, on the sale of an item or service. It is often a percent of the purchase price and is collected by the seller. Same thing here, guys. So the sales tax is going to equal the sales tax rate times the purchase amount. We're taking that rate and we're going to multiply it by the purchase amount. Last time it was the rate times the sales, right, for commission. And again, your rate is going to be a percent. Make sure you write it as a decimal. You pay sales tax every day when you make a purchase on any item. We don't have to pay tax on food, but any extra item that's not necessary, like a video or candy, is taxed. If the sales tax rate is 7% in Allegheny County, and that is true, how much tax will you pay after buying 2 DVDs at $16.99 and 1 Blu-ray at $36.29? So we know our tax is going to be our rate being multiplied by our purchase amount. Now here you got to find that purchase amount first, right? So take a minute to find how much you spent on your DVDs. The purchase amount is going to be 2 $16.99 DVDs. And you're also buying 1 Blu-ray for $36.29. Use your calculator. You're allowed to use it here. Go ahead and find your purchase amount. Well, your purchase amount is going to be, this multiplied by 2 is $33.98. And then add $36.29 to that. You're getting $70.27. So the tax is going to be the rate times that purchase amount. Your rate is 7%. And 7%, make sure you write that as a decimal. That's 7 100ths. And now use your calculator to multiply those together. The question is asking how much tax I will pay, so all we need to find is the tax here. And the tax is $4. And now when you do this number, it's 49189 and so forth on your calculator, right? But we're talking about money, and in US dollars, we only need 2 decimal points. So you can say it's $4.90. This 8 would really push that 1 up. So it's about $4.92 in tax. Make sure you read the questions carefully, because I could also ask, okay, what is their total bill then? And now you would have to add that tax to how much the items cost to get the total. So always remember that. One other type of tax that we see is withholding tax. And when you grow up, when you get a job, some of the money will be withheld from your paycheck to pay for taxes. We pay an income tax, we pay a Social Security tax, we pay different taxes that help our world. So withholding tax is a tax deducted from a person's earnings as an advance payment of income tax. So when we find our withholding tax, we take the tax rate and we multiply that by how much you earn. So hopefully you're seeing a pattern here. It's always rate times some amount. Each situation, that amount stands for something else, but the work is really the same. Again, that percent must be a decimal, so make sure you fill that in. So Anna earns $1,500 monthly. Of that, $114.75 is withheld for Social Security and Medicare. What percent of Anna's earnings are withheld for Social Security and Medicare? So what percent of her earnings are withheld from her? Well, we know that the withheld tax is going to be equal to the rate times her earnings. Fill in what you know and make sure you fill them all in the correct spot. The $114 is withheld. So that's going to go over here on the left. And the $1,500 and how much she earns monthly, so that's going to go over here for earnings. What are we trying to find then? We're trying to find the rate, and we want to know what percent. So we can just leave that as R for right now if you want. And then solve this equation. R times 1,500. To get R by itself, you would divide by 1,500. Then do that over here on the left. Use your calculator. Now remember, when you get your rate will be in this decimal form. So you're going to have to make it a percent afterwards. Anytime you plug a percent into an equation, it's in decimal form. So if we want the percent answer, we'll have to convert it at the end. When you do this division on your calculator, you get this number, and then we rounded that a little bit, and then we're going to move the decimal place over or multiply by 100 to get the percent. So that just moves the decimal over 1, 2, and it's going to be about 7.65%. And that would be the withholding percent. Last example then deals with tip, and I actually don't even have an example to do with you. I want you to look up a restaurant of your own and do your own thing here. Tip is an amount of money given to someone as a reward for their services. It usually is a percent of the cost of services. So to find the tip, you're always going to find the tipping rate. Sometimes at restaurants, some people like to tip 20%, some people like to tip 18%. Everybody has maybe a little bit of a different tipping rate, and they're going to multiply that by the cost of services to figure out how much you should leave. So for this last example, sorry, I can't write today. For this last example, I want you to look your favorite restaurant up and find their menu and choose your courses and record the costs and then calculate the total bill after tax and tip. So once you choose your restaurant, choose an appetizer, an entree. That just means like a dinner or a sandwich or whatever you're going to eat for your meal, and then your dessert. And then you can write the total for your food, calculate 7% for tax, then calculate 20% for tip because your server did an awesome job, and tell me what your total bill will be. I put some menus to go with this activity on Blended Schools, but you can also use the internet to look up your favorite restaurant. Complete that last example for me, and then you're ready for your quick check.